Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storme, here to help you unlock the mind, business, and spirit of your private practice success. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow, this is the place for you if you really want to create a thriving private practice. Before we dive in, I want to share something that can really make a difference in your business. Imagine having an expert in your pocket, someone available on demand whenever you need guidance. Well, that's exactly what my new program, Practice Momentum, offers. With over 30 years of experience at your fingertips, you can now get the support you need whenever you need it. Curious? Head over to brooklynstorme.com to learn more. And now let's get into today. Welcome. I'm so pleased that you're here. Okay, just going to dive right in. And it's a total vibe over here at the moment. I am almost dancing around the room because I have so much energy about what I'm going to share with you today, because I know it is that good, and this is really going to help anyone who is struggling to get clients at the moment. And here's what I want to say. Stop holding back, all right? On your website, if you're saying things like, I help people with life transitions and I'm going to walk alongside you and you're on your healing journey and all of that kind of stuff, stop, all right? Just stop, because it's just fluff. It's just waffle. And it feels good to you to write it in the moment because you're thinking this is what is expected, or this is what you should be writing, or you've read other people's websites and they're writing stuff like that. So you think this is what needs to go on a website, but it's actually not. What needs to go on your website, but also on anything else where you're potentially putting yourself out there where clients can connect with you. Maybe it's your socials, or maybe you've got a podcast too, or a YouTube channel and stuff like that. Stop saying that you're, into authenticity and you're wanting a genuine connection, and start doing it. And by that, what I mean is have an opinion about something. Now, I did a podcast episode on this ages ago. I think it was called something about having your strong point of view. But I'm circling back because, it's come up again. And I honestly believe that practices that get clients the most quickly, and they're the clients that are perfect for that practice, the dream clients, the ones that align with you, the ones that are on the same page with you, they're only going to find you if they know what your page is. So if you're fluffing around on your website using all the flowery language that fills up space on the screen but doesn't actually say anything, then it's going to take you a lot longer than someone who's got a point of view about something. Let me give you an example. If, for example, you were in the neurodivergent space, okay, let's say that's your area of expertise or specialization. This is who you work with. This is your ideal client, somebody with neurodivergence. Let's say it's a woman with neurodivergence and she's been late diagnosed, right? Just thinking about myself here. Then what's going to happen is that a woman with the new diagnosis, she's just found out she's got some form of ADD and possibly, its cousin, the autism, and now she's Googling for support. She wants to get some counseling because her psychiatrist recommended it. So she's looking for a counselor now that does this type of work. What's going to happen is she's going to open up tabs on her computer, one for all the different people who say they do this kind of work. And she's going to see, for example, that maybe a whole bunch of these places do clinical stuff, right? Maybe they have a very strong clinical focus. And a clinical focus is something that is, symptom focused. It's looking at signs, symptoms, treatment. It's looking at interventions that help somebody to do things better, right? Now, it might be things like working on your productivity, or, and giving you strategies, equipping you with strategies to work on your productivity so that you can be more efficient and, get more of your work done. Maybe it's that, for example. So that's kind of like the clinical approach. But if you're not in if you don't believe in the clinical approach. Maybe you've got a completely different approach, right? Maybe your approach is mind, body, spirit. Maybe you've got a mind, body, spirit approach. So what would be really, really helpful is if you speak into the value of the mind, body, spirit approach, not your qualifications or not flowery language about walking beside an integrative therapist, not that, but really be bold in what you're saying, okay? So that you give people a reason to come and book the session with you. So I'm just going to make it up now, but you might say something like, I understand, welcome to, ABC private practice, where I solely and wholly focus on women with a late diagnosis of neurodivergence, specifically autism and ADD. I understand that there is a big trend for counsellors to be adopting clinical approaches, and those clinical approaches tend to focus on what's not working, what's going wrong, or what you're not happy about, and then trying to give you tools, techniques, and strategies to help you feel better. And clinical stuff, but as the name suggests, is kind of in the evidence-based realm. It's in the medical model realm. And as I said, it's very focused on symptoms, signs, treatment, stuff like that. And what I want to say is that might work for some people. But as somebody who is late diagnosed with neurodivergence myself, it didn't work for me. And here's why. Because I didn't necessarily want to see that my neurodivergence was something that needed fixing, because by saying that you're going to support me to fix it and support me to change, you're also saying that there's something that needs changing, that needs fixing, that's broken, that's wrong. And I don't want to see myself as needing fixing or broken or wrong or needing to be changed. Actually, I just want to see what's the best way for me to operate in the world in light of what's going on for me. I want to understand, how do I make sense of what's going on for me in terms of my energy, or in terms of my concentration, or in terms of, my patterns. I want to understand, how do I get to understand those things and work with them, right? I don't need somebody to give me a habit tracker and a planner and tell me, right, this is what we're going to do. From this time to this time, you're only going to do this stuff. From this time to this time, you're only going to do that stuff, because that doesn't work. Like, my brain doesn't work to a schedule. It doesn't. If you tell me, okay, I'm going to see clients from 9 to 12, and then I'm going to do my admin from 1 till 5 or something like that, I don't know if my brain's going to be okay to do the admin from 1 till 5. Right? I just don't know that. And I know how my energy flows. I know that there are times, it could be like a week at a time, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to get off the couch. But then, Saturday's going to come around, and guess what? For some reason, I'm just going to jump out of bed at the crack of dawn, and I'm going to sit down in front of the computer, and I'm going to be in hyperfocus, and I am going to smash out a week's work in a morning to a really high standard, be really happy about it, and then go about my weekend. So I don't necessarily want to learn the neurotypical advice for living as a neurodivergent in a neurotypical's world. I don't want that. I want to get counseling from a counselor who can show me, okay, Brooklyn, there's actually nothing wrong with you. This is what's going on. This is why your energy fluctuates. Do you understand that? I go, okay, great. Thanks for explaining that. This is why your appetite fluctuates. This is why your sleep fluctuates. This is why this happens. This is why that happens. So I want somebody to help explain, give me context for all the things. And then I want them to say to me, okay, now that you've got this awareness, what do you feel you want to work on? What do you feel you need some support around? And then I might say, okay, well, I'm a therapist and I run my own private practice, and these are my challenges, and I want that counselor to meet me there and go, okay, great, let's look at what's going on for you, what the challenges are, and then how we can use what's going on for you to overcome those challenges, rather than you learning a neurotypical way of doing something. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm just giving you an example there of like if it was my business and that's what I was doing. Now, what I've just done essentially when I put that on my website is, and again, as I said, this is all hypothetically, I'm just making it up as I go. But if I had that on my website, then what happens is when someone who's late diagnosed with autism and, she's running her own business and the clinical approaches, are out there and they're available to her, but then she'll say, my website pops up and she sees my website. Which one do you think she's going to connect with? She's probably going to connect with my website because I'm having a strong point of view about something. I'm having a strong point of view about, what I think is not working in the helping industry for the clients that I choose to work with. Again, in my hypothetical private practice scenario over there. So when you've got a strong point of view, a couple of things are going to happen. Some people are going to say, she's way off base. Everybody knows clinical is best. I'm going to stick with, the medical model over here, and I'm going to go and get a counsellor who's using evidence-based practices. And you know what? That is totally fine. It is fine that those people aren't going to book an appointment because they're not your people. You don't want to be working with people who are not your people because there's going to be resistance and from both sides, and it's just going to be horrible and you're going to hate it. And no, so don't get upset that people will move out of your circle, move out of your orbit. That's perfectly okay. They might come back. It could just be not for now. They might come back. Doesn't matter. What's also going to happen is a whole bunch of people are going to go, oh my God, where have you been all my life? It's like you are in my head. I really needed to hear this. How come nobody's talking about it in this way? How come all the other therapists are saying that they can help me be more productive or more efficient? And yeah, when I go and have a look at the tools or techniques, you're right. They're using neurotypical things to try and make me fit into a neurotypical world. And that's actually not what I want to do. I want to learn more about what's going on, and I want to learn how do I work with it, not how do I change it. I'm not necessarily interested in changing myself. I'm at a point now where I want to understand what's happening and leverage it. So yeah, this practice over here meets me where I am and it feels really good. And guess what? When those people find you and they think that you're in their head and, they just know, it's just like this knowing that they have that you're their person, then they're the ones that go and they book in, and they're the ones who you've got no referral information because they've just gone and booked themselves in line to your online booking system. They turn up for their appointment. You don't know what to expect, and they're like your best friend in a way, in that you're both on the same page already. You're in agreement. There's alliance there before you've even started the therapy. And with that alliance, healing happens. Not that in this hypothetical example, I don't imply that you need to be healed, but I'm just saying like the work happens, whatever that's going to look like for that client. And it happens more quickly and you can get like really exciting results. And it's energizing work for you now because you don't have to not convince anybody, but like if they weren't your right client and you took them because you needed the money, or you took them because you're low on clients this week, or whatever it is, then that's going to be a hard sell in therapy to be able to work with that person because of the resistance they're bringing, because the resistance you have to working with them, because they're not really somebody, not that they're somebody you don't want to work with. The presentation rather is something that you don't want to work with. Do you know what I mean? When you get to work with somebody, they just, turn up and they plop down on the couch opposite you and they start talking and they're speaking your language. It's like so energizing because all that work has already been taken care of. It's already been done. So you can just start almost from the end and pick up from there and go. And guess what? They're happy for that and they want to go too. And they're just as energized by meeting with you as you are with them. And this is what fulfillment looks like when you're running a business. And it's not only being appropriately compensated and remunerated for, the service that you're providing to people, but it's also that energy exchange, right? It's just a totally different sense of affirming you're in the right place, affirming you're on the right track with your business, affirming this is what you're meant to do, affirming this is your niche, affirming this is your area of expertise. Do you see what I mean? And that's how you fill a practice with dreamiest clients that you want to work with. And I know that that's triggering for some people. Like there are certainly people that say, oh, you can't work with your dream clients and, that's just marketing speak and everything. But it's not. You do get to work with the perfect for you clients at this point in your business. And whoever's perfect for you now might not be perfect for you in 5 years as you grow and your business evolves and your mindset changes and your skills develop and all of that kind of stuff. And you get more wisdom and experience behind you. Of course, you're never locked into anything. You're not stuck in this niche forever. You can always pivot and change. So many women in business do, and that's totally okay. And it doesn't mean anything. You can do that. But it certainly means that your practice becomes more enjoyable. When the practice is more enjoyable and you're feeling energized by the clients, guess what? Your capacity to help more people increases. So whereas when you're generalist and you're trying to cast that wide net and you're hoping for more and more appointments, you cast the wide net, hardly anybody comes. When they do, they're usually not people. Why do I keep saying that? They're usually not the presentations that you want to work with or that you align with, and they don't want the interventions or the modalities that you really want to be using. And you start lowering your fee to try and get more clients. No, that's hard. And that's when you feel like your capacity is reduced because you start to resent the work. It starts to drain you. Everything feels hard. It's heavy. You don't want to do it. Right? And so even seeing 3 or 4 clients in a day feels huge. So you start doing weird things like giving yourself an hour to rest in between each of them. So now instead of just seeing 4 clients in a morning at 8, 9, 10, 11, giving yourself the afternoon off, now you've dragged out the misery for a whole day and you're trying to give yourself energy booster sessions of an hour in between each one. That's no way to run a business. It's no way to live. And it doesn't have to be like that. The key to turning it around is in understanding how your practice does it differently. Okay. And I appreciate that it doesn't matter what niche you're in. You're listening to me now and you're going, oh, I absolutely get it. I'm on board with what you're saying, Brooklyn. But honestly, I'm probably not going to go and implement this because I'm scared that other people do it better than me. I'm scared that I'm going to look at other websites and they're going to be better than mine. I'm scared that they're going to be more qualified or more experienced. You're going to have fears. I get it because you're going to be comparing yourself because I'm asking you to. What I would say is if those fears are on your mind, the whole point of doing this is to identify the things that you don't agree with, because that is where you're going to get those golden nuggets. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's people that are treating grief, loss and trauma with EMDR, okay, as I'm sure they probably are. And again, I'm just making this up. I'm not saying this is wrong or right. I'm just using this as an example. But let's say there are lots of practices out there that use EMDR for grief, loss and trauma. And you're a grief, loss and trauma therapist that uses a I don't know, holistic approach, let's just say. Again, totally making it up. Now, you go and look at grief, loss, and trauma websites, you start to see a pattern emerging. Oh, your EMDR looks pretty popular. Instead of thinking you're not good enough because you don't do EMDR, I want you to think, hang on, why don't I want to do EMDR? Right? What's the value of me not doing EMDR? Okay? Go back to why you don't do it and the reason that you don't do it. So again, right? I know that EMDR is safe and effective and all of those things. I get that, but I'm just giving you an example here so that you can. So I'm just logging back into my screensaver came on. I'm just giving you an example. So you might say, you might have a feeling like, oh, that's BS. Like, that so many practices are using EMDR to treat grief, loss, and trauma. Yeah, sure. Okay. It might be evidence-based and it might get, results in these areas, but it doesn't take into account these other things. It doesn't take into account the physiological response. It doesn't take into account the energy. It doesn't take into account, all these other things. And you can't process grief, loss, and trauma effectively, I don't believe, if you're only focusing on one piece of the puzzle. You need to be looking at all the pieces of the puzzle. And this is why, and blah, 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 blah. Do you see what I mean? So when you connect with why you don't, because in this example, again, hypothetical, but think about why you didn't, right? There'd be a reason why it just hasn't been on your radar to do EMDR. Maybe you don't agree with it. Why don't you agree with it? What's your point of view on EMDR for grief, loss, and trauma? And you can say, listen, it's going to work for some people and there's absolutely evidence behind it, but here's why I choose not to as a therapist. Here's what I believe. It's okay for you to tell us your opinion. We want to know what your opinion is because it's how we're going to connect with you. Same for anxiety, right? So again, this is a big one, Now, back in the day, was one of Australia's leading experts in CBT. So I feel like I'm okay saying this. I disagree that CBT is the be all and end all for treating anxiety, right? Any type of anxiety. Let's say generalized anxiety disorder. Somebody's like generally anxious most of the time and they don't know why. Yes, CBT has been clinically demonstrated to help reduce symptoms and, all of that sort of stuff. Not denying that. There's an abundance of research out there. Is it something that I'm going to rely on with my clients? No. And the reason for that is because I believe that healing, recovering from, processing, working with anxiety doesn't require what in my mind, and again, like I'm just making it up now, but what in my mind could be gaslighting your client. Like you're essentially telling your client, the reason you feel like this is because you've got cognitive distortions. Your thinking is messed up. You've done this to yourself. Now here we are going to sit down and I'm going to teach you about the symptoms of anxiety. Here's a handout. And now I'm going to teach you about all the messed up ways you're probably thinking. Maybe you've got magical thinking. Maybe you've got crystal ball thinking. Maybe you've got catastrophizing. Maybe you've got black and white thinking or all or nothing thinking. Maybe you've got this, that, and the other. And I'm going to explain all of those to you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a thought record so you can write down all your messed up thinking for me, because it's the messed up thoughts that are causing you to experience the symptoms of anxiety and not be able to do the things that you want. And you're going to bring that thought log or that thought record back to me in the next session, where together we're going to go and say, okay, so this thought falls into what cognitive distortion category? And do you know what I mean? And I'm going to teach you how to think more rationally, because when you think more rationally, then you will be able to live a better life. Okay. But essentially, it's like gaslighting or victim blaming, right? You're saying to somebody, the reason you've got this is because it's the way you're thinking about situations and stuff like that. So again, I'm just making this up. This is not how I really think or believe about anxiety, obviously, or things like that, or approaches. I'm just giving you an example. But yeah, so I might say something like, I don't think that, you're to blame for the anxiety. And I do feel that the way CBT is provided to clients can certainly leave some clients feeling like it's all their fault. And I want you to understand it's not all your fault. There are other things at play here. And, that's why I use, and then like insert your approach. That's why I really believe in the value of body-based therapies, somatic therapies, because they do this and they do that and they don't do this and they don't do that. And how are you meant to get from where you are now to where you want to be if you're working with a therapeutic modality that doesn't even look or take into consideration all of these other things, right? So you're never criticizing anyone or their business, and you're never criticizing a modality or anything like that, but you are saying why you do it differently. And the value of you being able to go and look at your competitors' websites is you are going to get triggered, right? Something that you see on their website is going to give you a feeling of butterflies, or it's going to give you a feeling of, tingly or something like. You're going to feel it. And I'm just saying what I feel. And you might get that, like that, recognize. What's that feeling trying to tell me? Well, it's trying to tell me like, I'm mad. Well, why are you mad? Well, I'm mad because he's saying this or she's saying that, and there are other ways. Like what I do, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So use that trigger, use that fire. Like that is the sign that you need to speak more into this. People need to hear it and put it on the website. Yes. Maybe put it on the website in your blog. Maybe put it on your socials instead of sharing the latest post from the Daily or Elephant Journal or, the Oprah Book Club. Like, really, who cares? People want to know what you think about stuff because they want to know if they agree or disagree. And it's the agreement that's going to get you the fully booked diary quickly, because that alliance piece is already done. Don't ever feel like it's unsafe. It's only going to be unsafe if you're doing things like, I don't know, criticizing actual practitioners. Like, you don't want to do that. Just say, listen, there are this one of the most common approaches to treating this, presenting problem is this. And here's why I don't do that. Here's why I chose not to offer that. In my experience, in my opinion, with my lived experience, I believe, and tell us what you believe. We're either going to agree or not, work with you or not, right? And the more people that see this, the more they're going to share it, which helps you grow your audience. Because if you write a piece that is strong like that, then people want to hear the next thing that you've got to say. And, they're going to bring their friend next time, and the friend's going to listen. Do you see what I mean? And this is how in our industry we do things like grow our audience or build a diary, grow our practice. Okay. So yeah, your homework really is to have a look at your own website, have a look at your messaging, have a look at your copy. If it's general, vanilla, wishy-washy, flowery, stuff that we're going to see on all the other websites about providing the safe, non-judgmental space where you're going to walk alongside on the healing journey and do all of this, delete all that. Go and have a look at websites of practitioners who are your competitors, for lack of a better word, in this sense. We're trying to identify, what other choices are available for your client, and we want to give the client the confirmation that working with you is the right choice. And we cannot do that if you're not standing for something. When you stand for nothing, you don't get anywhere, right? You don't get clients, you don't get fulfillment, you don't get turnover, you don't get to create the ripple effect, you don't get to create impact, all those kinds of things. So please don't be afraid. Go and have a look at some websites. When you're doing it, have a pen and paper beside you, just to take notes about anything that comes up. Tune into your body, because you're going to see things that make you feel stuff, right? It's either going to trigger you. You're going to say, that's not true. That's not right. I don't agree with that. Or you'll say, oh, interesting. Hadn't thought about that. And you might want to make a note of it and think about what it could mean for your business, right? Really, really, really powerful stuff. And if anything comes up and you're feeling it in your body, but, and you just don't really know what it means, you can ask yourself, if you're getting butterflies, ask yourself, what are the butterflies trying to tell me? What are they calling my attention to, right? And it could mean anything for you. But listen, and if you don't get the answer in the moment, that's okay. It doesn't mean the answer's not there or it's not coming. Just give it some time, because it could be that what wants to come through is 180 degrees the opposite of what you were expecting or anticipating. And so maybe somehow, some way, your conscious or subconscious mind needs to set itself up so it can actually process it before it brings it into your awareness. Do you know what I mean? Give it time. It's why we say, sleep on it. You'll wake up with a different perspective in the morning. It's just, I don't know how it works subconsciously. I guess just things need to be rearranged so it's safe for you to be aware of them. And or you might have the insight or the aha or the realization or the breakthrough when you're in the shower the next day, or when you're on your walk with your dog the next day, or something like that. You never know when it's going to come in. So if you don't get that instant, oh, okay, this is what I'm thinking, this is how I'm different, this is why I don't agree with that, oh, I would never use that approach. If you're not getting any of that, don't worry. It's coming. Be patient. Give it time. Trust in the process. And then once you've got it, use it. And if you're nervous, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, geez, I don't know, can I really put that out there? I don't want to get into trouble. I don't, you're not going to get into trouble, right? You're probably more worried about losing potential clients, to which I would say don't, because they were never yours in the first place. Get excited about the clients you're going to attract as a result of this. You're probably going to be nervous if you're someone who struggles with people pleasing, because you're not going to want to upset people. So you'll probably have a bit of an internal battle, and you'll be like, well, I really feel so passionate about this, and I do want to share it, but I don't want to upset anybody either. I'm not here to cause waves or to rock any boats. I would say by you trying to be everything to everyone, you're not actually pleasing anyone. You're probably not on many people's radar. You could please more people if you shared what you're really thinking. That would be incredibly pleasing to the right people for your business, okay? And if it's displeasing to the others, that's okay, because they're not your clients. They're going to go off and work with the other practice, and that's fine. There's more than enough clients for all of us, okay? But have your point of view, and don't worry about vanity metrics. Don't worry about how many likes or shares or hearts or, comments, or don't worry about that. Worry about the inquiries worry about the bookings. They're the two metrics for you to be focusing on, even if you're on your socials, okay? And I bet my bottom dollar that when you start having more opinions about things in a nice way, like a positive rant, kind of like what I'm doing now, if you have more opinions about more things, you're going to get more inquiries and more bookings from people that really agree with you. And as I said, when that alignment happens before you meet, the session gets to be lighter, you get to show up differently. It's like a completely different energy. And you get to have that and you get to experience that. And as I said, when you're feeling energized by your clients, your capacity to help more people increases. Whether you decide, oh, well, I'm going to increase from seeing 3 a day to 5 a day, amazing. Or you might say, well, I'm going to stick to my 4 a day, but I'm also going to create this new thing now. Great. Like, you get to do it because the energy is there. When the energy is there, the motivation's there, the drive's there, it's all available to you. And you can make things happen for you, for your clients, for your family, for the lifestyle you want, for the revenue you want. All those kinds of things become possible. And I just wanted to share that with you today because I think it is just so valuable and so helpful. And yeah, this is one of the things that we work on in the private practice certification. So if you don't have any training in how to run a private practice, then I would say get on the wait list for that. The doors open the end of May, but it's going to teach you all of this, but also the strategies for starting the business, for finding the niche, even if you think it's going to be really hard, for knowing how to build sustainability into the business from the ground up, right from the very beginning. You're going to learn things you don't even know are things, okay? And it's going to help you. So I would say go and have a look at the waitlist page, get on it, and yeah, you'll get some more information about it, when you join. But I just really want you to take away from this today that the practice, in some ways, I absolutely believe, is like an extension of you. It's like your energy expanded, and part of you is not only your approach and things like that, but it's also who you are. Everything that makes you you, the things that you believe, the things that you agree with, the things that you don't agree with, the things you don't believe, the things that are important to you, the things you really value, right? That is one of the keys to you being able to call in clients more quickly for your business. I really hope that this was helpful. If it was, let me know. I'll pop the link to the certification program below. And of course, Momentum is doing so well. Yeah, I can't even tell you, like a lot of the ladies, would they be coming up to 90 days? I thought it would be pretty close to 90 days. I'd say they've probably been in it for 2 months, maybe 2 and a bit months. But yeah, like even just at the time of recording this, they're getting more clients, more bookings. I think I told you one of them booked 12 new, she had 12 new bookings, and just as a result of one simple change. Somebody else had been posting on her social media and she wasn't getting inquiries or bookings. And then she was having a hard day and, she was saying, oh, look, I'm still plowing away. Now, you know how I feel about social media. I think get your website working first, but she wants to continue on with her socials because she enjoys it usually. And I just said to her, well, she's like, oh, I had this comment come up and I don't know how to respond to it. And I said, okay, well, show me like what's going on. So she sent me a screenshot, de-identified it, all of that. And I could see how she had responded to something. And then someone had replied to her comment on this post. And straight away, I could see how her comment won't convert. I could see what it was missing. And so I was able to come back to her and say, listen, next time you see an opportunity and you want to jump in and help, here's what to do and here's how to do it in a way that will convert for you. She had no idea. She loved the approach. She loved the strategy. And then I said to her, in terms of this person replying, here's what I would love for you to say. And I gave her an approach that will also result in conversions. Anyway, this happened yesterday, late afternoon. It was about, I was going to say, my Indian hadn't been delivered yet. My butter chicken and my Kashmiri rice had not been delivered yet, and the delivery was due at 5:30. So it must have been around 5 o'clock ish. And this morning I woke up and she had sent me a message saying, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. This person's replied and they've reached out and, all of this sort of stuff." And so, I love momentum so much and it just works. It just works. And she's not the only one. It was Friday yesterday, so it's Saturday, the 3rd of May as I'm recording this. I'm recording it so you've got something to listen to while I'm on leave in a couple of weeks. So I'm pre-recording and I just thought I'd do it now because I was in the mood. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so it was Friday yesterday and I said to them, how's your week been? What are you celebrating? Stuff like that. And because I love to ask that question, And then, again, it was a case of me sort of waking up this morning and I could see all of the progress that they're making. Somebody was in there and her practice is new, right? She hasn't been in private practice long. She's been using the strategies. She hasn't been in momentum 90 days, but she's in our community and she's saying, what's everyone's procedure for when you don't have space to take on more clients? I can't even tell you, when I put this program together, I never thought that it was going to, I don't know, I knew it was going to be impactful. I knew it was needed. I knew it was going to be useful and helpful, but I had no idea at the momentum, for lack of a better word. It's and the more wins they have, the more progress they make, the more progress they make. And the more progress they make. And it just doesn't stop. It's like a snowball effect. And it doesn't matter who it is. There's 20 of them in the program. It doesn't matter who it is or what they're working on. Some of them are filling diaries and doing marketing. Others are just starting their website. Others are identifying their niche, all those kinds of things. But it's all of them make a little bit of progress, and then that leads to more progress, and then there's more progress, and then there's more progress, and the progress doesn't stop. And it just blows my mind how I want to say amazing, but that's not the right word. Inspiring, how quickly, how speedily, how rapidly, but it's not even really about that. It's just something clicks when they join this program. Something shifts early on. And it's like the gates have just opened and the success is possible for them. And I'm not saying they don't work for it. They do, because some of them, a couple of them have big group practices and they're having to stop doing some things, strip it right back, go back to the beginning, restart. So it's not that they're not working, they're doing stuff. Some of them are doing really big complicated things, others aren't. Others are doing easier things, more simple things. They're all doing what they need to do to get the result that they want to get. So it's all very personalized. They're all doing kind of different things but within the same kind of realm. But I don't know how it's happening. It's just like there's this vortex created inside this space of constantly, I want to say getting results, but it sounds like boasty and braggy. And I'm not saying it to, I'm just sharing with you what my experience has been. And yeah. And it doesn't matter too, like if it's practical things like the business tactical side, it's also mindset for others. So, mindset in terms of, maybe someone on the surface has everything set up the right way in a business, but the foundations are there, the pillars are there, and it's not working. And then we see there's a mindset thing, and then we can work on that. That can take a little bit of time, but it's work and it's progress. And then boom, big shift, boom, big transformation, and then boom, that barrier's gone, and now she gets to call in the clients, call in the money, call in the impact, call in the opportunities, go overseas for a month and not worry, and all of those kinds of things. But I just had no idea what a vibe it was going to be. And I am so, so, so thankful and grateful to everybody that's in the program. I really am. I'm just so thankful that they chose this program as, the support for them. I'm so thankful every single day. I'm so thankful and grateful. And, I say my prayers every single day and include them all in my prayers because I'm so grateful and thankful that I get to run a business that suits me, but helps them and helps them create shifts and transformations in ways that some of them didn't think was possible, on timelines some of them never anticipated, all that kind of stuff. It's really beautiful. It's really beautiful. I honestly feel like his program is making a difference. And yeah, it makes me emotional every single time. And I know I speak about it in most of my podcasts, but it's just because I love it so much and I want to share with you the things that I'm loving. Speaking of sharing with you things that I'm loving, just quickly, where are we on the 100K roadmap? How's that all going? All right, so as I said, it's the 3rd of May when I'm recording this, you'll be hearing this what do I want to say, 22nd-ish of May, so in 2 weeks or so. I don't know where the roadmap will be then, but there'll be another 14 or 15 days on it, so it'll be double what it is now, because I think today I'm up to day 17. But it's going well. I can see that. I have been, as I mentioned to you before, it looks like a whole lot of dismantling of things and reassembling of things. And also, as I shared with you before, it's embodying a new identity. That has been big, but it's also allowed me to do the things that I've needed to do. Since I spoke to you last, but it was only a couple of days ago. But since I spoke to you last, I've done other things that I can share. Like I am now looking at doing things like running Facebook ads, which I go hot and cold with. But I'm looking at it as an option. So that's one thing. Something else that I'm doing is I'm still updating and refining sales pages, waitlist pages, things like that. I've still got work on that to do. I have completely overhauled the website. It still has a little bit of work to do, but I already feel much better about it. It's a lot cleaner. It's a lot simpler. There's a lot less clutter. It feels more, I guess, I said to you at the start of the year, like my word was refinement. So I just feel like it's more refined. It's just clean, simple, stripped right back. Like I think on my homepage, like above the fold, it's just got a big heading and then a little tagline underneath it, and then it's got a button to the waitlist page for momentum, I think. But then I went and tidied up all my tabs and my menu, and I did all of that, and even on the homepage, when I say no clutter and it's completely simple, think of Chanel or Dior. You know how they're like the white background with just one word and it's black and stuff like that. That's kind of, I guess, what it wasn't intentional. It's just kind of what's happened. I mean, we could say it was intentional, but that would be not true. But yeah, think about that. So it's just kind of still my colors and still my branding and still my fonts and all of that kind of stuff. But like that very first homepage, it's just no picture. It's just like a heading, a little subheading, a button. That's it. No photos, no images, no clutter, nothing. And it's just on a background in one of my brand colors. And that's how the whole entire website is. Just simple, clean, no mucking around, very clear what you get, what I do, how I help, all the things. So that's feeling really, really good. I've done almost all of the SEO for it. I do just have to pop in today at some point and do my alt text, which, when we do SEO and we're doing, the H1s and the H2s and we're optimizing the text and we're doing all these things, it feels like very pedestrian. It's like, oh gosh, I want to do something interesting. I want to be creative, but this stuff is really important. It does need to be done. I've just been procrastinating on the alt text, but I know my page will get better reach. Speaking of, it has been 2 weeks because today's day 17. So we're in 2.5 weeks and already I've had multiple inquiries on my website, people applying for momentum, and I can see that they're coming through from the website. So already with those changes that I'm making, I'm getting conversions. So that's great. Already from the website, I can see other things that are moving in Thrivecart, like signups for waitlists for the certification program, waitlists for DCS, joining the Ultimate Private Practice community. Like people now have to say how they're finding it, and they're all saying it's the website. So I can see, while it's all still fresh and happening and stuff like that, I'm already seeing the benefits. So I know that once I leave it alone, once I sit on my hands and just stop interfering with my website, I know that will continue to increase as the algorithm and everything gets more familiar with my website and what it's doing and all of that. So that was really, that's been happening over the last couple of days. What else? I'm just going to have a quick look and what else have I done? Oh, yeah, just posting. So, yeah, I put a post in my community actually about, and I don't know if you saw this or not, but it was about fees. And the reason that it came about was because there were, I told you about this on a recent episode, so I don't need to go into it again. But anyway, so I did it about fees and I was sharing my strong opinion. I was sharing my point of view. And this is important because it's what we're talking about on today's episode of the podcast. But I did that. And you know what? When I did that, it is polarizing because there are obviously going to be people on both sides of the fence for all kinds of different reasons. But remember, by me just being me, I'm not trying to please all of the people, right? I'm just being myself, and you can take me or leave me. So the post resonated with a lot of members, but I'm sure that there are also an equal amount of members probably that it didn't resonate with. People that probably said something along the lines of, well, my supervisor told me just to charge because it doesn't cost me as much. And yeah, I'm not going to listen to Brooklyn. Like, I'm going to listen to my supervisor. So there will be people like that. And, and they're probably going to leave my group or move out of my circle or unsubscribe from my email or stop listening to the podcast. And that's perfectly okay. I'm not upset at all about that. They've got agency, right? I move in and out of other people's worlds all the time too. Like, it's okay. But at the same time, what happened by me having my strong opinion and doing it in a ranty way that was actually going to help the people that I want to help, it meant that people who are maybe in the group who've been sleepy or quiet or not gone into the group for a little while got notified that, hey, we've got a hot topic going on over here. I got inquiries, people saying, Brooklyn, can I talk with you about my fees? I think I need some help with my fees. And so now those people have gone and booked, the 15-minute call, or do you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And I got more people commenting, and do you know what I mean? So it's landing. And then there's always what I call the silent audience, which is all those people who never comment. They're in the group, they see, they read, they keep their finger on what's happening, but they never comment for all kinds of reasons. The most common reasons are they've got peers in the group, or a supervisor is in the group, or their practice manager is in the group, their employer is in the group. And so they don't want to put anything up, like a post or a comment, because they don't want to risk anything, right? So they would just sort of stay on the sidelines. And it's usually the people who are on the sidelines that don't comment, that don't engage, that don't do all the things, that will, submit the application for a wait list for momentum, or approach me and say, can I work with you for supervision, or, do you still do business mentoring and stuff like that. So always understand, when you're sharing your point of view, not only are there going to be people that leave, it's going to attract the right people who agree with you, but also there's a silent group that it's also attracting that you just don't see. And it's the silent group usually that are going to be the ones that end up working with you. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. So I did that. Then, because it was so well received, I also turned it into an email, sent that out, and then I repurposed it again as a blog post and put it on the website, and shared that to my stories to drive traffic over to the website and stuff like that. So, did that. And then it was just like, really, over the last couple of days since the last one was recorded, it's just been that kind of stuff, and zaps, setting up more zaps. If you've ever had to deal with Zapier, you know what I'm talking about. It's a joy. But setting up my zaps. So as I said, like when I was thinking, I'll just replicate it again, and I'll just, make a roadmap so that other people can copy it and they can make their 100K in 90 days. I didn't expect that I was going to go through what I'm going through now, which, as I mentioned to you before, is that like stripping it all back, new identity, building it up again. All right. And you'll go through this too as your practice evolves and changes, I'm sure. But so that's where it's at. So I don't know if this roadmap is going to, because it's only on, as I said, it's only on day 17. We've still got 73 more days to go. Feels like so long. I know it's not. 73. What's that? It's nothing. So at the moment, the focus has been on rebuilding and laying the foundations, preparing everything, like preparing the soil. Then it's going to be like sowing the seeds, and it's going to be waiting for the growth. Then it's going to be, picking the fruit. So I think that's probably we're in the preparing the soil stage, and we're composting and stuff like that at the moment. I'm interested though to see at what point we start, planting seeds, and at what point we start, seeing the seeds sprout and grow, and then at what point we start picking the fruit. Like I'm interested and curious to see how this is going to unfold over the 90 days. And I am still going to keep it as a roadmap. As I said, I will, depending on what it looks like at the end of the 90 days, I will tidy it up most likely. I will give it to the ladies in Momentum. I will give them like a copy of my original so they can see, for those, because there are some that want to know everything, like they want to devour everything, and they want to have a look. So I will absolutely give them, I'll just make them a copy of my sheet. They can have that, but I'll also give them a tidied up a version where I've removed things that I can see, even looking at the last 17 days, I probably didn't need to do, and that may not have shifted the needle, because I don't want anybody wasting their time. So that's what I mean by tidying it up. So I'll give them a cleaner, sharper, more focused version. and they can test it for themselves, see how they go. And yeah, once we start to see that it's working for them, then I will have a conversation with all of them about, yeah, are we going to, do we want to keep this within momentum, or, are you happy for me? Not that I'm asking their permission, but part of me kind of wants to keep it special. Or should I open it up and do like a big training on it where people can come along and have the training and learn how to do it who aren't in momentum? I feel like probably the general consensus is let's keep it in momentum. But anyway, I will do, even if we keep it in momentum, I'll figure out something where I can give you something around the roadmap. I'll at least talk with you about it and say what worked, what didn't, what the lessons were, what the learnings were, and give you guidance on how you can make your own and stuff like that. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. We're nowhere near that. As I said, we've still got 73 days. Yeah, so it's those sorts of things. And two, what I haven't been putting in my roadmap, which I will go back over the weekend and add in, is I haven't put in the it's like, how my model is mind, business, spirit. It's like, so far I'm just looking at it and it's like all business. I haven't been making any entries for what I've been doing with my mindset, or for what I've been doing for my energy, or with the feminine energy or the masculine energy, or the trust, the surrender, the receiving, like my practices, my rituals, the tools that I'm using, stuff like that. Like the other day, somebody else was talking to me about her social media, and she was saying, again, it was kind of similar to the other one. She was like, how do I respond to this? And it was a bit of a curly, she'd been asked a curly question in an online community, and she wanted to know what was the best way to answer it. And it was so curly that I was thinking to myself, what's the best guidance here for her? She was after a tactic, not coaching. The coaching came after. She needed a tactic in the moment. And I said to her, just give me some time. Just give me like 5 or 10 minutes. And she said, yep, sure, no worries. And then what I did was I just picked up my pen and I journaled it out, and then I knew exactly what the strategy was, and I gave her the strategy. She got the conversion. She got the booking. So, and the whole thing from her, from me, from her going and using the strategy to getting the client booked in took no more than half an hour. So that's what I mean. Like, I haven't added things like that into my roadmap, but I feel like I probably should, because I want it to be comprehensive. And as I said, this is all about transparency, but it just never occurred to me to include things that I've been doing like that, like the manifesting meditations, like blessing the water before I drink it, like, my happy Buddha. Like, I haven't, like, my own sort of rituals and practices, but I also haven't put in there about shifting my mindset and about the identity work that I had to do in the early days of this roadmap. That's just not in there. And I feel now, as I'm saying it out loud, it needs to be in there, because I think if I gave you this roadmap in its current form, in my head, this is going to work for you. But you might go and follow it and have it not work. And the reason why could be because you didn't understand how to approach things. I'm thinking about mindset here. You didn't understand how to approach things. You didn't align with things. You weren't in the right headspace for things. You weren't seeing things because of the mindset that you were in. So, things that I see now that I've got this new mindset, I didn't see, 3 weeks ago. But now I'm seeing new things. So all of that kind of happens. And I really believe that contributes to your success. And because I believe that, and because that's the model of my business, I absolutely must go back into this roadmap and add in the bits about what I'm doing for my mind and my mindset and my beliefs and my thinking and my approaches and all of that. But I also need to add in stuff around my body. So different things I've been doing for my body to help my body, what do I want to say? Get the result. So I'll add that to my list of things to do. And it's not actually a list of things to do. It's really something I want to do. So, and I know because I want to do it, it's not going to take me long. And because it's only been 17 days, I'm not sort of far behind. I can actually go back in and add in because I can remember them. And I will just make it a practice that I continue to add in the things from those other areas as well. Because when I do that, then give you the roadmap, then you've got the full picture of what was going on. And even as I'm saying that now, I'm realizing that's probably why when I've bought courses and I've followed things to the letter and it hasn't worked for me, there was probably mind stuff and body stuff the person who made the course was doing differently that wasn't shared with me. So I've only got like one piece of the puzzle instead of them giving me the whole puzzle. So I want to make sure you've got the whole puzzle. So yeah, I'll go through and put that in. And do you know what? I just trust that this, I was going to say journey, I hate that word, that this process, this experiment that I'm doing, I hope that's interesting for you. I hope that you're curious about it. I don't know how it's going to go. I've got no idea if this is going to work or not. But I'm here for it. And I know that when you're refining stuff, you need a starting point. So if nothing else, this becomes the starting point. And then in the next 90 days, we refine it and implement it. And then we refine it again and implement it. And we refine it again and implement it until I've created a reliable, dependable way that women in private practice can easily, through using a mind, business, spirit approach, call in at a minimum 100K every 90 days, so 400 a year, without killing themselves, like, exhausting themselves, burning themselves out, seeing heaps of clients. No, I certainly don't see heaps of clients. In fact, when I'm doing a lot more work now than usual because of this roadmap and everything it's involving. But before I started work on this, I honestly was just working in the business, doing direct client work. Honestly, no more than 5 hours a week. 5 would be a push. On a Monday, I usually would do a call for either the private practice certification or the DCS, the Diploma Counsellor Society. So it'd be one or the other. That would be an hour. And then I would have, 1 or 2 hours in that morning to see any one-to-one clients for supervision and coaching and stuff like that. And then I had a Wednesday morning and I've got one client that I see regularly in the morning, and that's fortnightly. And yeah, I think my hours there are just like 9 to 11. So, and from time to time, there are people who book in just randomly for a business coaching one-off, an ad hoc session or something like that. And they might need a different time because maybe there's a big time difference. Like, if you're a Perth listener, you're in WA, you know what I'm talking about, the pain of the 4-hour time difference. So yeah, of course I'm going to make exceptions. But on the whole, I was working in the business roughly 5 hours a week, and I still managed to generate that 100K in 90 days. And if you ask, well, how many hours were you working on it? I would say, again, honestly, in the course of a week, maybe, I was going to say 10, but I wouldn't even think it was 10. I mean, to do a podcast probably takes an hour and a half because I don't plan it, okay? I I rarely plan it. Sometimes I will, if I've got important things that I want to cover, I will make notes for myself and I'll pop them into a Google Doc or I'll scribble them down and stuff like that. But most of the time I just turn on GarageBand and I just like pray for inspiration and it comes through and I just talk about whatever's on my mind. And sometimes those podcasts will go for 20 minutes. Sometimes I go for 45. Sometimes I go for an hour and a half. It goes for as long as it goes. And then once it's recorded, I just add on the file at the beginning and the end for the intro and the outro. Then I save it. Then I just put it onto Podbean, which is the platform I use to publish my podcast. And that whole process probably takes about 15 minutes, including writing. Like, I'm really bad with my descriptions. I'm sure I would have more downloads and more reach if I wrote better descriptions, but I just never do. I just like a hurry to get them out. But yeah, so I do that, and that happens twice a week. So say an hour and a half times 2, that's 3 hours. I do 2 blog posts a week. They probably take an hour each. And that's not even from the writing. It's because of me stuffing around, having fun making memes, because I love to make memes. So yeah, that's another 2 hours there. So on top of the 3, we're up to 5 hours. And then working on the business, I don't really do anything else because most of it, in all honesty, is automated. So I'm just leaving space there for a few hours where I do things like maybe I share something to my social media, or maybe I go in groups and, reply to people's questions, stuff like that. I would say, yeah, give that a few hours. So I wouldn't even say 10. So if you're looking at my business in terms of what was the overall time investment to generate that 100K in the 90 days, I would say maximum 15 hours a week of combined in and on. And so, yeah, that's what I'm aiming for again, and being intentional about it this time, because I wasn't intentional last time. It just happened. It just manifested. So now I'm looking at, okay, how do I be intentional about creating this, and what's it really going to look like? Because I don't want people to think they can't do it because they don't have any more time, because they're already studying and working and single mumming and doing all of the things. I want them to be able to go, maybe this is doable. If it only takes 15 hours a week, can I find that 15 hours if it's going to give me 100 grand? And I think most of them probably would, once they got out of their own ways around, I'm worried about, the money and the instability and, can I just do this? Can I just do that? Because there's going to be fears, right? Because when we change, when we do things differently, when we step outside our comfort zone, fear comes up, right? So I know that when we come and talk about this roadmap down the track, that I'm going to have to provide some gentle guidance, reassurance around helping people feel safe to give it a go. I might even make a mini roadmap for 20Ks or 50Ks or something like that. That might even require less time. But the idea is that you get to have the practice that you want. If you want to be working more, you get to do that. If you want to be seeing more clients in person, you get to do that. But if your circumstances have changed and you need something that is going to fit better for you and where you're at now, you also get to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, so that's that. I love talking about this so much. As you could see, I could talk about it all day long, but I won't. I'm going to hit stop now on my recording. I'm going to add the outro jingle. I'm going to schedule it in Podbean for Wednesday, whatever date that is, after the 19th of May. And you'll get to listen to it then. But yeah, if you've got any comments, if you've got any thoughts, if there's any questions, of course, just reach out. Always here to help and support. As I said, with the certification, if you're considering starting a private practice, I would say get yourself over to the waitlist and sign up. You need to know how to run it. Don't be like other people who think that they can it's going to be easy, and they think that they can do it, and they struggle, and then they come and they need to pay to get help down the track to fix things that just aren't working. They realize it's actually cost them a lot, right? Unnecessarily. You can avoid that pain. Come and learn how to do it. Now, in case you're wondering, I know that you're busy. The program is completely self-paced. You do it around your commitments, and everything you need is inside. So it doesn't have to feel big or long or hard or anything like that. So you've got that. The other thing is, if you're wanting information on momentum, of course, click the button below and get your name on the wait list. Otherwise, have a gorgeous, gorgeous Wednesday. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorme.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.